could have won this game in that fourth quarter.
The people in the chat are telling me that Evan Fournier hit the game winner for the Magic tonight over the Suns.
Wow, you can't make that up.
In his
something's really needed.
Untradeable now.
21 points for Fournier, 8 of 16, 4 of 9. Gordon another clunk. Gordon a clunker, 5 of
basketball gods.
Gordon fucking at Boston.
5 of 15, 0 for 5. Actually,
Fournier.
Okay.
I'll just say real quick about Fournier. I can't like ever even remember like seeing an Evan Fournier highlight like in the history of basketball.
Well, you didn't watch the World Cup because that guy is.
You know what I think
France.
of? Actually,
Francais.
Honestly, whenever I think of Fournier, I think of him crushing the Celtics at TD Garden. Like, it happened a lot, like throughout the last 4 years or so.
He's not an athletic guy. He's a shot maker, but he's not like he's not a guy who's going to be putting up highlights sort of buckets.
Right.
That being said,
that's what I mean. Like he's not a
somebody recently made the case. Everyone's we keep going back and forth on this Gordon thing, and again, where the Gordon thing appears to stand is a bit of a game of chicken right now, where Danny is offering what it appears is one draft pick and one young player. So it's kind of that comfort zone of what you're Bobby and what we've talked about, what you're okay giving up, which is 1 first rounder and a Neesmith type figure. So be it. If that's the case, obviously pack the bags and bring him over here. Where it gets complicated is with the Smart Fournier sort of situation. But another question is, would you explore just doing Fournier right now and not giving away legitimate assets and do that smaller deal? We did talk about TP using the TPE for role players or bench sort of players instead of like. Because again, if Gordon's going to cost you something real, and if it's Marcus or if it's whatever, you start to. I mean, how split do you think the Celtics are right now, and Celtics fans are on a deal that also involves Marcus Smart going out for Gordon coming in? Pretty down the middle, right?
Yeah.
Even analysts too, they're not sure whether it makes the Celtics better, and we were talking about it too. We're not sure either. But maybe you just do that.
You want both if you're sending Smart out for sure.
For Smart, yes, but if you're not. And
you don't do Smart.
Just a dump. Maybe you do that. I don't know.
Yeah, you would think about doing like Teague and a second for Fournier, like a fully protected second. The problem is that's 14 million, or I think it's 17 million he makes, right, of the TPE on expiring. So they're just not going to do that.
No, you'd want
Fournier would help.
Take Tristan.
Yeah, Tristan.
Even if they do that, though, that's still TP. I don't think you can match without throwing quite a few guys in there. And then Magic have to answer questions about.
You would use part, but you wouldn't be using, 17 million.
If you can get Tristan off the books for another year and use part of it, maybe that's something
it's either or. The way the TP works is you either take all the salary into it or you match the contracts and don't use it at all. You can't use part of it and like use other salaries to match the other part of the deal coming in. It's all or nothing. So you're taking in 17 million on Fournier, I think is his salary, or you're sending out like 4 or 5 players to match. So that's what complicates that a little bit. I think he'd help, but I just don't think and I don't like when people say this on Gordon, but it's true with Fournier. He's not moving the needle enough to start digging into that TPE. And he's probably leaving at the end of the year. You could be. So then you waste that much TPE on a guy who could leave. Right.
So
I don't know.
The question now becomes, and so here's where we are. KOC went on the air, went on NBC earlier today, and he said that it's Celtics in Portland there, but Denver might be making that late push and willing to throw more things into the mix. In which case, Celtics would have to up the offer from whatever this is. And it's interesting because earlier in the week, the story was that they'd already put two first round picks on the table. And they were the only team to have done so, which made them the front runners. And now it appears it's a single first round pick and a young player for Gordon. So what are we looking at here? If the Celtics are about to get outbid, what more do you do to this offer? Forget Smart and forget Fournier and forget doing that deal. Just this offer. What do you need to do to make it work? And what are you willing to give up? Throw in another first, throw in another young player. What do you do Smart at this point and say, yep, if that's what it's going to take? If they I don't want your young player, I want Smart. I want Smart.
Yeah, I don't think Aaron Gordon is the one. I honestly don't. And listen, I'm not overvaluing Marcus Smart. I'm not one of those guys that's like, you can't trade Marcus Smart, but I'm not quite sure if Aaron Gordon is going to check those boxes. And I'm not saying that he necessarily has to be Marcus Smart, obviously, but we're asking him, or the Celtics are going to be asking him to be that two-way player that they desperately need, the upgrade that they need, that catch and shoot, that's going to be a part of this as well. I think that's what the Celtics are definitely looking into, because we all know that he's not the kind of guy who is going to, needs the ball in his hand all the time to score. I mean, in transition in the open floor as a defender, I mean, those are the reasons why the Celtics want to get someone like this. But I don't know if Marcus Smart is it. I think 2 future first, a young player. I mean, if that's not enough, maybe you take the lesser deal. I think maybe the Celtics consider targeting Fournier or maybe someone else. I'm not quite sure. I'm not ready to put Marcus Smart. I'm not putting Marcus Smart in this trade. I wouldn't do it.
I don't think it helps Orlando that Gordon's had a couple clunkers late, because again, people remember what they see, and his last game heading into a trade deadline is a 5 of 15 clunker. He was 3 of 13.
Did have 7 threes last Friday though.
I know, but he was 3 of 13 against the Celtics as well. So you had a couple of the what am I getting in this guy sort of games recently, where you look at it and it's like, I could live without this, like there's nothing Aaron Gordon's done in the last couple of games that I can't live without. And
so
again,
Jimmy,
it's not all about shooting an offense. He can play defense. He does other things well. He allows you to play a different brand of basketball. He helps a little bit with spacing, or when people blitz Tatum and Brown with the ball, or Kemba. He's another person you can get the ball to, and there's different things you can do for sure. But he's not really like blowing anybody away right now.
I'll throw before Jimmy hits on Gordon, the way you would make Fournier work is Thompson, Teague, Edwards, Green. That would be the way to make it work money-wise.
You've been on the trade machine too long, my friend. Way too many hours in the day. If you were in
Tristan
class
Thompson,
right now, the teacher would be scolding you.
Yeah. Tristan Thompson,
Bobby, get off that trade machine right now.
I thought I blocked that. How are you getting on that?
So on Gordon, I've gone back and forth on this a lot, but I'm at the point where, and this, it's hard to.
He's about to jump off the ship.
He wants to trade.
I'm at the point where I think the Marcus Smart era it might be over, and it's not really Marcus Smart's fault. I think again, it might have to do with some fit. It might have to do with, I don't know, if almost similar to, like maybe his teammates have almost tuned him out. I don't know. I have nothing to base it on other than the fact that, he's supposed to be like the heart and soul and everything of the team, but I still don't really see a lot of it out there. Even with him on the court, Bobby, you already talked about the record with him out there. The production has dipped, certainly in late in the games in the fourth quarter. And I'm kind of interested to see what else Aaron Gordon can offer on a better team. I mean, let's not forget, this guy has not really had great teams, great guards around him. A better team, yeah. Very loosely
That's
stated.
The thing, yeah, about the offense.
I'd like to see what Aaron Gordon can do with better players around him, like Kemba Walker, or obviously Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And I think what Gordon can offer is athleticism, obviously, a force down low. I think he can maybe open things up by forcing defenders to sort of collapse on him when he is, whether he's driving to the hoop or whatever he's doing. I don't want him to end up being a player that just turns into a shot chucker, because we know the type of shooter that he is. So if he's going to come to Boston and just take on that role, then the grass might not be greener on the other side, and it might just end up being a bigger Marcus Smart. I want to see a Gordon who's, showcasing what he's good at, which is playing above the rim and being athletic and being aggressive.
All right.
Contest. But by doing that, by being that type of guy.
Not winning them. He's never won a dunk contest.
Can I share my screen? I got a really good one here in the trade machine. I'm gonna pitch to you guys.
Okay, Bobby.
Let's see it.
If this is trash, we're gonna let you know about it.
All right. So we've talked about the issue
if you're in the studio portion of it.
Gotcha.
We've talked about the issue. Are we seeing my screen yet?
Not you, Jimmy.
I think you got to call it up, John.
Yeah.
Me?
I don't have that power.
So we've talked about the issue with the Celtics possibly not bringing in a point guard if they do trade Smart. We've talked about the Magic possibly not wanting Smart. And we've talked about Danny going to a third team for picks to facilitate this thing a little bit. With the Thunder, who have about 35 picks
I love
in the
this.
future. Would they take Marcus Smart as we've talked about as like a tone setter, like a leader for a young team? Take Neesmith too as like a first round player. Send Thompson to the Magic as a salary dump, along with 1 Celtics pick, like 2 Thunder picks, because they have a million picks that they don't need from the Clippers and Heat and whoever else. And just overload the Magic with picks to take Thompson, dump Gordon, get Hill to Boston, who's an outstanding, rotation point guard. And I think you make all 3 teams happy here. This one would be tough to swallow for the Magic, but I think if they get 3 or 4 first-round picks out of this one,
they need picks, yeah.
They'll walk away happy.
Hey,
3 or 4?
There better be some picks in there. Jeez.
Well, no, not from the Celtics, Jimmy. I think you'd get like 2 of the Thunder own like Clippers picks,
Wait,
Rockets
what are they
picks,
giving?
Heat picks.
They're giving Gordon and what?
They're giving
Gordon.
just Gordon to the
Why,
Celtics.
they're not gonna get 4 first-round picks for Aaron Gordon.
Well, 2 from the Thunder, 2 from the Celtics.
What are the
and
Thunder
Celtics
getting?
to dump
What
to
are
Thompson.
the Thunder getting of value to give up 2 picks?
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Smart and Neesmith.
No. That's not 2 first-round picks. No.
They have like 35 picks, John.
Doesn't
They got to use
matter.
it on something.
No.